Hi. Hi. Is your mic on? Your mic's not on. We would like to hear your voice.
Here we
Hi.
Okay.
Love it. Okay. So, hi, we spoke. It was a couple days ago because there was the Thanksgiving in between, but it doesn't feel like it was that long ago. And we were talking about, so you have this wonderful pop art influence style. And we were talking about one of your influences for that. Can you tell us about an artist that influenced you?
Well, it's kind of obvious if you know who he is, but Keith Haring is a
Yes.
huge influence on who I am and why I create art. And and I don't know if he's influenced my style, but we have a lot of synchronicities.
Nice.
I came into my style randomly by chance. I woke up from a dream and I was like, I gotta get this down. And it was just like a couple of houses. And I continued with that style. And then I picked up Keith Haring's diaries.
Oh, neat.
And it's a penguin book. It used to be something else. It used to be a different set of style of book. But it turns out that we have a lot of synchronicities that I have come to learn about, like the thick black lines and
Mhm.
defining your canvas. But he talks a lot about, let me open up to a page in my sketchbook.
Great.
He talks a lot about visual poems.
Mm-hmm.
And I think with my work, I try to compose geometric forms in poems that people can instantly recognize.
Yeah, I think that's really true. They're like almost little stories that you are capturing in a very simple and like graphic representation. I,
Yeah,
yeah.
I like to strip things down to their essence, to their basic form, at least the design. The color schemes are arbitrary, but I'm pretty loyal to a few of them. But with my subjects, I usually try to make humorous allusions.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Uh,
There's definitely humor in your work.
yeah, like sometimes I'll allude to sexuality,
Mhm.
and a lot of the times those paintings are of landscapes or
Mhm.
landscapes, so a lot of hills and
Right. Hmm.
uh, but yeah, and others, I also like to paint or design the pictures people take the most pictures of.
Okay. Yes. So
So
familiar things.
yeah,
Yeah.
and I like to keep my compositions really sound numerically.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's really important, is just there's always a horizon line, or if there's not a horizon line, there's something dissecting
Oh,
the composition into half.
yes. That's
Or
that's true. That's true. I recognize that now. Can we see your sketchbook? Because you were showing me this and it's you have like the dot notebook.
I
So
have
you got two. Okay. Well, show us your
they
favorite
are they
one.
are this one's a graph
Okay.
one. This one has dots. This is the newer one. So I'm gonna
Ah,
go
nice.
ahead and dive into the older one.
Okay, great.
And I do
And
have like raffle tickets. Um pick
oh, to mark the sections.
Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah, so the benefit of using the graphs or the dots though is that you can use that to establish your ratios and for your compositions before you bring them onto the canvas.
Yes. And so here's an example. Let me see. All right.
Oh, that's beautiful. I think we can see this on the wall behind you too.
Oh
This
yes, I do have that
yeah,
right
there it
up.
is. Yep.
I
Okay.
have multiple of this one. This is a flower phonograph. And so I always dissect the whatever square or rectangle in half, and vertically and horizontally. And I'll put on notches of important reference points. And I will always, it's usually, I play a lot on symmetry, so I'll do it on both sides.
Right.
So I don't have the integers here, but you can see there's little notches to where.
Right.
And the plan is one day when I can afford to go to graphic design school, or to put that time into digital paintings and illustrations, I will have a history of what I can put on Photoshop or in design.
Yes. You have like this is like your Bible kind of all of the
Yes.
work that you have collected and the ratios and the color
Yeah.
matches.
And you can
Ooh.
kind of consider me an analog graphic artist.
Yes.
So this one I don't have it painted yet, but I like to play around with the colors. This one is actually more true to the design now.
Yeah.
So I play with all the markers and try to figure out which is warmest and how the colors interact. And then like here, oh no, I lost my place.
Raffle ticket fell.
I like to play with different color schemes and
Yes.
colors, and the graphs they really help with duplication.
Right. And keeping it, consistent.
Yeah, and let me show you about one more. And I like to keep an inventory. Sometimes I'll challenge myself to complete a whole page, which I haven't yet. But
Yes, drawing exercises. I remember that from art school.
I'll start with like doodles. That's where I
Right.
get my inspiration from, is like just doodling. And then I'll find a line that I like, and I'll be like, okay, how can I compose this into a square or a rectangle?
I feel like artists' notebooks should almost be like an exhibit on their own, like they're so fascinating, and to like see the development of the process. And then like even just like there's so many things like in my own sketchbook that I'm like not really happy with, but like that are still interesting to like, a friend who's looking through it or something like that. It's such an interesting thing, and so personal to look inside someone's notebook.
Yeah, definitely. Let me go ahead and adjust the camera a little bit.
Sure. So when you go to take this, so you got it in your notebook, you take it out of your notebook and you're putting it on the canvas, and you use those notches that you're talking about to lay out the piece, and then you tape the edges of your canvas, which is like a big process for you because each of your pieces it's just raw canvas around the edge, right?
Yes, and it keeps it really clean.
Yeah.
The paint, even white paint, has a reflective sheen to it. So when you want to take a picture, it just looks dirty almost.
Right.
But I'm able to like even take alcohol and clean it up after with the blank canvas, and it helps.
That's such an interesting little detail to me that you can't see at all by looking at the video or looking at the photos, that is raw canvas that is around the edges of it.
Right.
And that the painting itself lives within this black border neatly set in the very center of the painting.
Right.
Yeah.
And so it is taped on one side, but I do take a paintbrush and then paint along that line. So it's
the black,
organic, and it's all me, and it's very precise, versus putting two lines of tape.
Yes. When you're doing the black line is what you're saying, right? Yeah.
And I have done that for larger pieces, but for like things that are human sized, I will go ahead and
tape them both.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, yeah, when they get that big, it's the details are so much more easy. They're easier to observe too, I think. Yeah. Okay, well, let's talk about a couple of your favorites that you have in your shop right now. We see a little gumball machine peeking out from behind you, and there's
Yeah.
someone peeking in the gumball machine.
Yes, sorry.
Yeah.
Let me go ahead and show
Yeah.
you a little
All
bit
right.
better.
Oh, thank you for fixing the blinds.
Yeah. This baby is the size of a miniature gumball machine.
Mm.
And
Okay.
it is 24 by 36
30.
inches. And I originally was gonna just, this isn't the original design. Originally, I had something planned that was a little bit more basic. And I'm really happy that I decided to go with the spiral and
Yeah.
to
The
include,
spiral's really cool. You've
yeah,
increased the colors you were saying too from what you usually work with.
right.
Yeah.
And I think this is the second time introducing white outside of the borders as well.
Yeah. I think
Um,
it works. And then you were saying when we were talking that you anthropomorphize your little your inanimate objects. So like this gumball machine has faces. There's a face on the gumball, there's a face on the
right.
little gumball delivery slot. I don't know what those are called. I'm gonna go
That's
with
a good
delivery
word for it, dispenser.
dispenser. Your delivery
I
slot.
like delivery slot. So I do have I do personify two things in this painting, and that is those things.
Mhm.
And I usually stick to one.
Ah, okay.
So I didn't want to include too many people in this, but the little guy who's white in the middle, he kind of represents just a blank avatar, you know, unborn child, blank slate. You're ready just to put your all into making yourself
Hmm.
life or whatever. Or you're in a different dimension and you're ready to move on to the next. And that's where
When you
your next
come out the
little
little
friend,
shoot. Shoot. It could also be a shoot.
right? Yes. And that's where you come out. That's the
Hmm.
threshold of life, as you would say. Um,
Yes.
so I think it's really
The
important.
the the womb.
My mom has texted me, so that's what you're
Oh,
hearing.
oh, okay.
Uh,
Um, and then all right, so that's one of the ones that you have on your shop list. And then we also talked about the protectors, who I think you have with you, to show us. Aha! You just pulled it out of the wall there.
the window, both. Oh,
So
yeah.
cool.
This one is actually, I think like the second or third time I use people as subjects.
Hmm.
And so right here we have, well, they're, you wouldn't, they're not women, but they are cloaked and they're ready to just, you know, have your back. Um,
Legit.
yeah.
They look pensive and sort of thoughtful too.
Yeah.
The You have such a simple line that conveys the expression on the faces of these two people. And
Right.
it just, yeah, it's like they look approachable. Like if something's going wrong for you in your life, you can come up to this
Right. You can
face
give
and
some advice.
explain the difficulty and ask for help.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And originally I have used I used this motif in a different painting. For the first time I painted a person
Mm.
in my subject. I do have that. I'll show y'all later. But it's of an emoji coming up, emerging from just wherever. Um, so yeah, this is one of my this color scheme is in my canon of color schemes, and
Mm.
it's my favorite. This teal, you'll see a lot of it in my work.
Love it.
And this red, I let me tell you about this red. I've only been able to find something that I've liked from Walmart. It's apple barrels
Oh,
craft
that's so
paint.
random.
And so
It's
my
beautiful.
paint is all acrylic craft paint. It has this nice matteness to it.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah. Yeah, you have
that,
very consistent sheen for each of the paints that you're working with. They're all very consistently
yeah.
pretty matte.
Let me go ahead and fix these blinds again.
And then let's see. I know you had a skateboard, and you have to tell them the name because I don't know how to do it right. You have to tell them.
It's an onomatopoeia.
I don't even know how to say. No, I'm just kidding. I can say onomatopoeia.
It would say is swish, 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 and that's to signify the sound of a skateboard going over sidewalk cracks.
Right.
Because this is a personified skateboard. This is the first time I introduced neon pink into my
Yep.
canon of color schemes, and I was really pleased with it. Um, but originally, I mean, when I first started painting and coming up with designs, I was really scared that I wouldn't be able to come up with anything more,
Mm-hmm.
or there's just some things that people do too many times, or I just don't, I wouldn't have thought of a way to compose a skateboard into a square. And I was really happy
I
one day.
love the way you've solved it. You gave it a little curve, but I think it works because to me, the curve feels like, well, it feels like two things. And we talked about one of them, but here's the other one, as it feels like motion, you know? Like to me, it's just that's what it looks like when you see something moving as opposed to being stationary. But then the other thing we talked about was this thing in like the 1970s where people used to skateboard in like those kidney shaped pools. And it kind of feels like the kidney shape from those pools.
Yes, it does. It does.
Yeah.
It gives you the shape of where you skate and then
Right.
of what
Of
you
what you
skate.
skate on. It's very meta, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's fun.
I love it. So all of the stuff that is in your shop, they're all originals. You've done all of the stuff in the shop is originals and you have them in a varying sizes. So like we've gone from like large to small. This is not your smallest size though that you have in the shop right now, right?
I have I have one 4x4 right now. And that goes for $15. But it's actually, I don't know if you'd be able to see it. Let me
I
see.
can see the little baby ones down here. Yeah.
Oh, those are on my shop. Let me go ahead and bring those up
Yeah,
because
show us a
they're
couple of those. Those are so cute. They're just like they're like the perfect little thing for like accent art in your tiny apartment or you know on one of those walls that's so narrow that you just can't put art on it or but they're also just so fun and delightful. And then like there's some Simpson references here
yeah,
also which I was so pleased with myself that I got those.
these are fun. And the thing about these are they stand on their own.
Right.
And
Everything's ready to hang.
right. And they're individuals.
That was a good way to demonstrate that.
Thank you. And then, so let me show you a few other sizes that are really popular in my shop. And that's the 14 by 14.
Okay.
And this is an original piece. Of course, we were talking about that. It is called MySpace, and it's a reference to me creating in my room.
Your room. Yeah. I actually kind of recognize some elements of that from this interview, but then also from our meeting.
And that's the same size as
Oh,
well.
neat. This is
So
like is a stairwell? Is that what we're seeing?
yeah, that goes into a wall.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just a play on architecture or home architecture. 20 by 20 or 20 by 16 is another popular size. So this is the same size as protectors,
Okay.
but it's
But
horizontal.
horizontal. Yeah.
So that's part of that color scheme of those.
Lovely. Well, thank you for showing us those guys.
Yeah.
Do you want to tell us about your holiday tradition?
Yeah. My mom would always decorate our house very a lot.
Elaborately.
Yeah,
Yeah.
elaborate. And I know she might get mad if I say this, so I'm gonna say it. It kind of stays there for a few months, so I think that's part of just the tradition,
Mm.
the cycle of life for
It's
the
hard to take
household.
down. It's hard to take down Christmas. Is it Christmas that you guys celebrate?
Yes,
Yes.
Christmas.
It's hard to take down Christmas. It's depressing.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
for her a little bit.
I can understand that.
Because it's her holiday, and luckily I live with my parents, so we all get to celebrate together this year.
Yes. Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for sharing. By the way, I love your earrings. They go so well with your colors.
Thanks.
Okay.
They're not by me, but they are by an artist, Vida Vasquez.
Nice. Are they on Instagram?
Yes, they are.
Awesome. Okay, Via Vasquez. Look for, are they little oranges or are they just little balls?
Yes,
They're
oranges.
oranges. I love them.
Yes.
Awesome. Well, shout out for Via Vasquez is what you said?
Vida, Vida.
Vida. All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us, Marissa.
Thank you. This is great. Thanks, y'all.
Hey, thanks for watching. For more videos like this, go to the link here. And to support us, you can join the Patreon by going to the link below.